Started right here on the match between Gosu's Ostojiy, spawning in the right position, versus none other than StarTale's Bomber in the left position, playing under StarTale Curious, and that is indeed not your Zerg superstar. Playing Terran in this tournament, that is indeed Bomber, being the general badass that he is. Does look like we have Curious, excuse me, Bomber. I'm going to be making that mistake a lot. Bomber starting out, plopping the barracks down. Again, Ostojiy is 0-2 in his group right now, and we do know that Bomber is up 1-0. So Bomber does need to try to take down both Ostojiy and Huck to advance. Could win, two of those three matchups in order to advance, but of course there's always the risk of tiebreakers coming up. So the map is going to be Metropolis, which is kind of an interesting map. We've been seeing the most epic of epic games of all time ever under all circumstances happening on this map. And it's also quite interesting, the fact that, I think that of all players, Bomber is one who might be able to get a short game on this map, kind of paradoxically, because he does go for those 3-base plays rather than going for the more general 2-base, a little bit of aggression, and then into 3 and 4 and so on. Bomber takes those 3 bases so quickly that he does the huge 3-base pushes and manages to take his opponents out pretty quickly with those, or he'll just end up mining out and tapping out, kind of like we saw him do against Nesty in the GSL. So, since we do have the determinations from Group B, Sase is first, Teja is second. So whoever gets second will go up against Sase. Whoever gets first will go up against Teja. And right now, pretty much all Koreans are advancing throughout the tournament. And the only person who seems to be able to pull it off would potentially be Huck and Stefano. Ostojiy looking a little bit grim with his own 2 in his group. Now, already we're seeing the Zerg not get any gas geysers. He is going straight for the Queen. Queen will probably be getting the next 2 queens. I think on maps like Antigua Shipyard, it's going to help you a lot more because you can get the creep to mid-map super fast. On this map, obviously, creep spread is going to be essential, but you can't exploit it for a very, very long time unless you want to play mega defensively. We've been seeing players like Ostojiy, like Rhett, going for the very unusual multiple creep tumors at the front and then actually cutting to the side. Essentially saying, you know what, there's no way in a million years I am going to get in his base ever. I may as well get an erase with a glacier. Still don't know who to win that one. So I'm just going to use this creep to get my defensive third. Does look like we are seeing StarTale Curious. Oh, excuse me. It does like we are seeing StarTale Bomber. Bomber is going to be going for that. Pretty standard. Triple racks, and whoa! This is something that, again, he's so known for, going for the triple command center, but it generally does it with Hellion. Maybe he just says, man, queens are total BS. Whatever word that is in Korean, I'm sure everyone will be typing it in the chat, and I hope you do. I encourage you to do as such. And instead of going for the Hellions, just going straight up for them Marines. Now, Ostojiy is getting this 3rd hatchery before he even really gets that much gas. I mean, Jesus, only mined 150 gas total, getting Zergling speed, but this ultra early 3rd hatch is very Dongregu-esque, leads to a big macro game, but unfortunately, he's up against a Terran player going for a bigger macro game with that triple orbital command style. I'm kind of curious as to what Bomber is going to do to follow this up. I mean, he's obviously going to get the bunker up, play a little bit defensively, but almost always we see him getting the early tank count and starting to build the Marines with those early reactors. More and more we're seeing players avoid the tanks, go for Marines with medevacs, go for, awesome Thors instead of tanks to try to be a little bit more aggressive. But Bomber has always been a sort of tanky kind of guy. So it looks like he's, interestingly, going to be still going Marines, and there it is. This is the Bomber we all know and love. I may as well only do things that will be useful in 10 minutes. Fast 3rd expansion, fast double upgrades. Not fast anything else at all. Could potentially begin building a lot of add-ons early on, getting a lot of reactors as quickly as he can, thereby enabling him to get some sort of extra special big army to go along with his upgrades. Now, if you do go for 1-1, this early on, you're not trying to go for a 1-1 timing push, you're trying to go for a 2-2 timing push. Because if you just look at it, what's 160 seconds? We can't even get a factory and starport and medevacs out in time to align with this and still get our combat shield up as well. You have to have a crazy timing to pull that off. Ostojiy going for a little bit more standard expand, does have his Baneling Nest up. It's kind of a defensive Baneling Nest. Might not even want to use that at any point. Just go for the very standard Ling Infester, which has become increasingly popular. And of course, because I'm a minimap user, every time I look at the minimap, I suddenly go, oh, he's expanded to the bottom. Oh no, it's a Creep Tumor. It's a Mega Creep Tumor. 50 HP. Wow, it's the same as a normal Creep Tumor. But because it's not owned by anyone, it is sovereign country, it earns the title of Mega. Factory now finally going out for Bomber. This is just to be able to build armory for these upgrades. That's why the timing is slightly delayed. And again, getting all these barracks up, generally start building up a nice big ol' army. But there is a small possibility that we might be seeing a starport come up right after this in an attempted time push. But Bomber is just going to have a miraculous management of that economy to pull that one off. Ostojiy now moving mid-map, trying to gain a little bit of control by stepping forward. Up in the top right, Ostojiy now does have that expansion down. There's the 2-2 Baneling speed coming up. And again, this is a total emergency just-in-case Baneling Nest. Really not at all designed to be used too much. And there, finally, Bomber is taking that bottom left expansion. So that way, he can end up finally making use of said third command center. So now it looks like Zerglings from Ostojiy going to try to do some damage, but won't really be able to take it down. There's the land. As you see, the 1-1 is done. There's the armory now incoming for 2-2. Is that a second starport? He might go for the biggest Marine medevac pushing you will ever see, producing medevacs 4 at a time. That would be indeed completely sick. But for Bomber's build order to work out properly, yes, he needs to get the 2-2 started right away so he can do that push later on. The Marine count is becoming astounding, getting to staggering heights as we progress farther into the game. Ostojiy taking a 4th base in production. We see the Hive is also about 40% done. Pretty cool position to be in right now. He's comfortably spread his creep to mid-map. Unless you are focusing only on that, it's always going to take a long time to get all the way down there. Right now, it does look like Bomber has a ton of Marines stockpiling up in mid. In that unit station, 61 Marines? Are you serious? Is he going to get a Caduceus reactor? The medevac energy? I'm sure you guys aren't commentators and don't need to know names like Caduceus reactor or Behemoth reactor. And what is the energy upgrade for the, what is it? What is this one? It's the Corvid reactor. Bam! You see that? I study this game. There's the attempted counterplay coming up by Ostojiy. But it will be deflected by this sickening number of Marines. And no, look at this, a Raven coming out for Bomber. This is a extremely unusual play. But Bomber is the man who's known for his 3-base antics. Ostojiy is just a Zerg, which means he's known for N-base antics, where N is greater than 5. He said mathematically. Single drop, not really going to be enough to put too much of a dent in Ostojiy's plans, because even on the ground, those queens are super effective locking down the medevac. Queens in a pair, one does fall. Another drop coming up from Bomber, just a little bit of a distraction, because again, he's going for the 2-2 timing push. 66 Marines, a single Raven, sprinting up. The Corvid reactor has begun research. We may very well see a hyper-fast transition. A lot of Ravens for a big late-game competition. Bomber does get thwarted relatively easily. And now we do see Bomber going for command centers galore. And oh, look at this! Instantly going for double Raven production. Sick play by Bomber. So excited to see this play out on Ostojiy's front. He's also going into power mode. 5 Ultralisks are en route. Has he begun the chitinous plating? He has not. That is one of the pivotal upgrades for the Ultralisk. If he does not get that in time, he will have an extremely squishy army. And the Nidus Network, both players pulling out. All stops. Ostojiy's one of his first big on-stage appearances, not including those at MLG and such. Really putting on a nice show with some cool moves against Bomber really has reinvented his TVZ. Now getting ready to start stepping forward. 3-3 is started. Ostojiy easily surrounds Bomber and takes on up. And oh, the Raven tries to clear out a little bit, but see you later, Ravenator. Energy units versus energy units. None of these units even existed. It was all just Chitinous plating now starting for the Ultralisk Cavern. With the Nidus Network. Oh, Nidus Worm in the back. And another Overlord up top. And here comes the scariest noise in StarCraft 2. This is the Nidus Worm. And a single infested Terran Swarm egg. I'm sure that's not the linchpin of this assault, but already we're seeing in the back of the base a lot of supply depots quite vulnerable. And this is an extremely unusual situation to be in as a Terran of any skill level. Oh, Bomber doesn't lift. A really surprising click there by Bomber. As you can see, the Raven's starting to step in. Will it throw down that Seeker Missile, or will it just fall to its demise? Ostojiy doing a fantastic job angling himself properly at this base. Is he going to be making any more Nidus Networks? Not at this point in time. Bomber with the incredible positioning, ripping apart those Ultralisks right before 3. Looks like we're starting to see more and more attempts by Ostojiy to try to break through this, but here the Ravens start to make themselves known. Will he hit it with a Seeker Missile? He needs to get into the Nidus Worm. He needs to get in the Nidus Worm. Run! Oh, big hit there, taking out one, bringing all the others down. Very low life, and see you later. I'm down at the bottom right side of the map. Very tragically appears to be the case that Bomber is starting to get pulled in a lot of directions. There's the Ultralisk. The Zergling sweeping down to the bottom right, and it is an orbital command. So Ostojiy is really working Bomber's ability to manage all these different situations at once. Bomber up 1-0 in his group might fall in this first game to Ostojiy. And oh, Burrow. My god, Ostojiy is performing really well. The single Nidus Network is really exploiting the large distances, making this map feel a lot smaller than it really is. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. Even throwing down some auto turrets would help tremendously there. But right now, Bomber can hardly mine in the unit station. We see the 98 drone count from Ostojiy. These smaller armies, faster production. Nidus Worm comes to life long enough to die. Double Spire. Triple Infestor, another assault going down in the bottom left. We also see the lane 10 man to bring that orbital command down to red life. And now we're slowly starting to see the Bomber trying to find some way to make use of these Ravens. You're so eagerly expecting your opponent to do some kind of big Infestor Broodlord army, which you can crush with repeated lands on the Seeker Missile, but every time Ostojiy starts popping out one place, he is set to be hunting another. Heard that Seeker Missile. Didn't get to see it detonate. Zergling's now going down the third base. Oh, the command center is burning! It is on fire, and can he get it down? And it looks like the lift repair is going to be a little bit too much. With all these exchanges, we're starting to see over time, Zerg is losing more units on average. Insane Raven. Oh, Seeker Missile obliterate. Another Nidus Worm at the backside. Ostojiy doing a great job keeping Bomber pinned. The Bomber may very well just not mind. As long as he can endure this aggression, his unit mix is exactly what he wants. 10 Ravens, 57 Marines. Couple medevacs, couple marauders, more than enough to deal with. Hasn't even really made a big attempt to rebuild his main base. Do you see the creep tumors from Ostojiy spreading forward? Perhaps can creep up this bottom expansion, make it a little bit more difficult to re-expand. Bomber must recognize and not end up losing that command center, because that would be both hilarious and very embarrassing. And at this point in time, it's becoming a little bit of a rough position for Bomber. How does he make an offensive, and if you're in Ostoji's shoes, how do you make sure that you're not wasting all this money? Oh, a nice Seeker Missile blast. We do hear some extra eruptions of the Nidus Worm. Will he be able to take these expansions? That would be a great use of them. Unfortunately, you cannot Seeker Missile and Nidus Network, but the main base, always a good choice to go for. Up in the top right, we're starting to see Ostojiy on his 3 bases running very, very low on resources. Burrow's linked to the backside. Great distraction to do another Nidus Worm bomb in the back of the base, and this one is going all out. Ostojiy just completely picking Bomber's defense apart by just using that Nidus network, the Zerg Warp Prism. But it looks like Ostojiy not really stepping into the action, trying to deal with this drop. Oh no, the multitasking ability fell behind, which gave him just enough time to respond, but amazingly, Bomber's not even responding at all. He is instead going straight up into the main base, doing some drops there. Some Corruptors have reared their ugly heads. 10 Broodlords do the transition he needs, and the main base also picking everything down. No supply depots taken down in the main base. But the third vulnerable yet again. The number of orbital commands is staggering, with the increasingly low SCV count. Bomber replacing it with those deals. And still, we see a big struggle for the Terran players to secure that third, and in the main, more Ultralists have cleaned everything up. Another Nidus Worm. Bomber may never be able to get a functioning fit base. And at the rate that Ostojiy's picking Bomber apart in the Units Lost tab, sure, it does favor Bomber, but Ostojiy has been picking slow and good positions to engage, and making sure that Bomber can't really mine enough minerals. I mean, look at the mineral differential. Those Zerglings are really coming into good use in this late game spot. And with these center expansions so close, Bomber's just going to bounce back and forth, pick them off one at a time. And a direct engagement for both players. Easy micro there for Bomber. Ultralists, squishy units, micro against properly. We are finally seeing Bomber start to get a little bit more comfort. We do see the Nidus Worm up. The real key for the Zerg player is going to be to take these different islands. This will absolutely allow him to continue to maintain an economic advantage while still keeping his opponent restricted on all these side bases by having all these Nidus Worms pop up. Oh, and can he get a fungal? No, it looks like he's going to have to try to run, but you got to keep in mind the Seeker missiles. More than enough to pick all of those off, and oh, denied escape! A terrible tragedy for all these poor investors who just wanted to go home. It's like the last taxi that ever existed in the entire planet Earth. Driving away from you empty. Come back! Come back, I had my fare. Ostojiy now hopping back into the main base. Bomber landing there because honestly, it's a place with some minerals. And you know, I have some orbital commands to spare, but down here, we're seeing a drop. Wow, I know where all of Ostojiy's units were. They were hiding up in the top side of the map, and it looks like a little bit of a misrally by Ostojiy. Oh no! Oh no! Ostojiy trundling those Ultralists off to their sad soul demise. And now we're going to try to find a way. Break into Bomber's front? Well, I don't know. Bomber's continuing to turtle quite well. He might even build defensive planetary fortress command centers at the side angles, because I think Bomber's starting to realize he might not be getting out of this one alive. And oh my god, the fusion core dancing may commence soon enough, because the fusion core is going down. At the front of the main, we're seeing some attempts at Seeker missiles, successfully demolishing, maybe. Oh my god. Run. Oh, he gets taken down as there is that acceleration right at the final stages. And with that extra Nidus Worm popping up at the backside, I mean, you just can't keep denying throwing down these Nidus Worms. He will be able to do it every single time. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people do these types of compositions. We are seeing people use the Ultralist Investor. We are not seeing a lot of players do this. This really is increasingly looking like the next evolution of this matchup. Ravens, an aggressive play on all sides. Sir, it really should be the aggressive race. You all played StarCraft 1, right? That is the way it should be. And there it looks like more Infestors being taken out. I don't know how that works, but he's fine. He's in absolutely good condition. As the Nidus Worm continues Try to unload some big Baneling hits, but more than enough medevac for Bomber. Starting to get 2-2 ship weapon and plating as he transitions over into those battle cruisers. We are seeing, looks like, oh, this is brilliant, throwing down a single auto turret. That's a hell of a way to expand, and ladies and gentlemen, yes, yes indeed, rock out. I hope everyone is dancing in chat. If you aren't, that's disappointing, and I'm ashamed. Looks like I got a little fusion core dancing going on in the bottom right. And, ooh, Bomber inadvertently forgetting that he has to target fire, as he just has 2 idle auto turrets, not allowing him to land. But if Terran gets those island expansions, then Zerg is doomed. There's going to be no way for Zerg to hold these center expansions with ease. His main base is going to be in a little bit of trouble. We do see the Greater Spires are done, but... oh, more big hits! Oh no! Oh no, the rain! Oh no, it's more Seeker Missile rain. He has to stay on the creep to run away. And did Bomber actually do this? Did Bomber defend long enough and gather up enough Ravens to win with one huge final push? We're going to find out shortly enough. As we are seeing a whole swath of units swarming forward, doing maximum damage up at the front. And now Ostojiy trying to reposition those infestors as we're starting to see the SCV sack in action. I have mules. These are not needed, please. You have done your work. I hope you enjoy your early retirement. And yet again, on Metropolis, we're seeing another extremely epic, long cross-map game. Point defense drone takes it all out. And we are once again back to a little bit of a stalemate position, but not for long. We are seeing the release of all that Marine Marauder, the real first attack that has been made all game long by the Terran player Bomber. He has picked it all apart. Oh, Ostojiy coming from the backside, starting to clean up, but there are battle cruisers back there, and it looks like the Seeker missiles are not really going to be able to step into action. As, oh my god, a Yamato goes down a little bit, potentially wasted, but I don't actually think Bomber has really any units, and Ostojiy is still maxed. All these command centers, oh no, he just milled all the command centers. He's going to cancel most of them. Sure, mules are great, but if you're over-muling, over-orbital commanding with no money, you are totally screwed. Looks like Curious. Ah, Bomber. Will continue to happen. Everyone's going to be okay. Ostojiy now, getting ready to add on that extra set of expansions, as he really is hurting for gas. Sure, he has 1K in the bank, but look at that army composition, all those gas-heavy units. If he loses too many of those, he is done and out, and I actually think that Ostojiy may have leveled himself into thinking, oh yeah, my opponent with that huge army, I mean, is probably having another huge army off hiding somewhere. But indeed, no. I mean, Ostojiy in such an incredible position could just attack right now, but Bomber sadly was in a really vulnerable spot, and Ostojiy really could have taken a big win. I think this would have gone down as one of the more epic ZVTs in the last few months with all those Nidus warming actions going on. Now we start to see a drop from Ostojiy as he's trying to take the top left island, and this is one of the worst moments you can have when you realize that your opponent does have that top side expansion. This is a good way to reserve the territory. Ostojiy adding on increased gas units. And where is that Nidus worm? Oh, behind the minerals. And only now Ostojiy pushes as Bomber gets maxed. The Nidus worm, I'll figure out what to do with this later. I'll figure out what to do with it right now. We see the Ultras popping out. One gets stuck, no big deal. All of them getting, oh my god. Oh my god, and the splash damage is going to pick off the Nidus worm. Oh, that was a close call from Ostojiy. Managing to barely load back up in time, and now that Ostojiy is starting to take all these expansions, it's really going to be looking very, very good. my god, Battlecruiser's now moving into the fray, heading down to the bottom right. We'll be able to pick off that Nidus network, but again, if you can just keep spraying the creep, you'll be in great shape. And there's the nice unburrow timing. Ostojiy starting to take down a ton of workers. 40 workers, 7 mules, 6, 5, 4, slowly dwindling over time. More units in the middle get taken out with some nice bungles. At the emergency middle base, we're seeing some incredible corruptions going down. There we see Motto cannons, anything you can do to try to pick those off. No neural parasite! Somewhat of a blunder through the neural parasite. One of those ravens can get a nice nerve point defense drone. Oh no, the marauders from the back. Bomber's slow, meticulous character file, really letting him step into the lead of this game. Bottom right base, reserve 7th, going down the 6th, still healthy up in the top left. And the 8th, up in the island, not really operational. I just cannot believe how epic all the matches are on these maps. Now it looks like Bomber will begin working his way up to the top side. Taking out this double Baneling nest, the 6th base under a lot of threats, and now Ostojiy, amazingly, after all the exchanges we've seen all game long, he is the one who is broke on minerals. Oh, Ostojiy had the window where he could close the deal, but this brutal 3-3 everything composition coming out of there was a little bit too much to handle. Now you see Bomber cleaning up the expansions. He will slowly pull back. Oh, that is so awesome! Oh my god, that is an effective way to deal with spore crawlers. You just land and become a turret. Now all the ravens are going to fall. Nice little victory there for Ostojiy, but he does have 79 marines to churn through with 11 medevacs and 20 marauders backing them up for all the crazy transitioning we've seen out of Bomber. It did indeed all come down to the marine marauder composition in the end. And there we start to see the real strength of mules. Wherever is a safe expansion, you have the instant transport to be able to get them into action, and Bomber might not ever make a big push to the top right side all game long. Players starting to look at these big maps saying, well, if it's that big, then you come to me. Now we're going to see Bomber. The first big direct attack from Ostojiy. Just can't quite break that, especially with Bomber's control so good. Having some of the units in control group 2 so that we can control back all the non-marauders with ease. An attempted drop with the Ultralisk. Successfully going to be able to clean this expansion up. We are seeing the crazy battle up in the top left side. Planetary Fortress does manage to take out a hatchery in a real game with tournament money on the line. This game has been a lot of firsts. Single Marine taking out the dumbest Ultralisk of all time. You did your job. You did it well. Now seeing Ostojiy still try to battle for this expansion. Both players having a very difficult time. Really just getting in favorable engagement. Anytime Bomber seems to want to leave, he just loses all these expansions. And this top left is actually a primary source of income. Ostojiy really... Oh, he's going for the Nidus. Can he get it down? He takes down the 4th. Might go onto the spine. Up next, we see more SCVs stepping into the fray. There's the medevac going to go down. Not any chance. Spine Crawler falls too. We have a very weird battle up at the top. The 100-kill Planetary Fortress. The bottom right for Bomber is his only source of income. And as the SCVs continue to sacrifice themselves, we see the Bomber's army size is becoming gigantic. There's all of those units. And wow! A brilliant play by Bomber. There's just not enough anti-air. Never mind, that was a terrible play. Why did I call it brilliant? You lost all those units for nothing. Oh, Bomber, what a blunder. He said retrospectively correct. Another nice nab there for Ostojiy. This map matchup will possibly go on forever. This matchup may never end. As we are seeing Curious trying to hide his units in that center crevasse, but no. Some do die. And I honestly feel like Ostojiy is playing Minesweeper on Expert, where almost every square is a mine, and he just found the one spot that wasn't. But you always know, if you do that second click, you just wonder, how did I live through this? This is honestly going to become some sacrificial units as you realize, no, there aren't no minerals here left to take. And Ostojiy has found his bastion up in the top left. With the number of battle cruisers that are coming out of Bomber, I don't really think that Bomber's going to be able to have an issue with that. Oh, another nice nab with the Infestors. Ostojiy has just been on point with them for the last 10 minutes. 1/5 of this game. You don't want another planetary fortress taking down a hatchery. We'll deal with that right away. Battle cruisers just idly sort of hanging out, Corruptors trying to be replenished. But the big concern is that, oh, we have a lot of these Infestors, and Bomber is target firing the high energy ones. And for the umpteenth time, the 10th base, Ostojiy goes down. Ostojiy trying to use his infested Terrans. He wants a big fungal, and that is the fungal that he needed. Just cleaning up a big number of those Marine Marauders. Once up to 80 Marines, now down to 61. A lot of them actually being left behind for fear of some sort of counter. An even larger chunk at that bottom right island. Ostojiy still might win this game. You guys, this game is still going on. We're seeing Ostojiy finally pulling back. Target fire, not enough fungals. He can't whip around almost all of them at around 60 energy. Just not what he needs to do those fungals. Oh no, it happened again! Oh no, a planetary fortress did go down in the top right. Oh, little Ultralist, try your hardest. It's getting under 300, but no, Bomber! Oh, oh, run away! Run away! Run away! Oh my gosh, and now that Bomber has both the island expansions, 27 mules, it's time to open the income tab. That number might hit 4 digits. Another attempt at Nidus Worm. Ostojiy realizes his only hope is getting this island, and Bomber with some incredible defensive play. Ostojiy with some incredible offensive play. There we see some huge corruption down. The Nidus Worm does stay alive. Every unit for Zerg is going to be on this island, but we're already seeing that the mineral fields are about a third mined out, amazingly. Due to that mining rate of the fuels. This poor Nidus Worm. That can't be bad. Or that has to be bad on the enamel for your teeth. Now we're starting to see more Vikings come out of Bomber. Battle cruisers show up. Planetary Fortress falls. The final battle happening on the island. We're seeing... Oh! More Yamato's down. Oh, looks like Ostojiy will be forced to retreat. All the drums try to go in. Beautiful animation on that one Nidus network. This game's gonna hit the 50-minute mark. Zergling Ultra Infestor continues to be produced by Ostojiy, but his options are few and far between. He might try to retake this bottom right expansion, but Bomber now has a clear win path in front of him. Just needs to lock down these two central expansions. And there is the last stand for Ostojiy. The first big attack from Bomber, now moving into the center of the map. what a sick match between these two players. The Battlecruiser's now moving up to the top side. Oh no, losing one Infestor is tremendous. Good point time and good game. Oh my god, that game. That game was insanity. And it happened. Oh, Ostojiy, I salute you, but I certainly also feel bad for you at the same time. So what we're going to do is we are going to hop